Hello, Canada and the world. My name is Marcel Irnie. Today is February 7th, 2022, 11 a.m. These Canadian police officers are committing war crimes in violation of the Geneva Convention relative to the protection of civilian persons in wartime of August 12, 1949. Let's look at Article 30, Application to Protecting Powers and Relief Organizations. Page 180 in the Fourth Geneva Convention of 1949. Article 30, protected persons shall have every facility for making application to the protecting powers, the International Committee of the Red Cross, the National Red Cross Society of the country where they may be, as well as to any organization that might assist them. Fundraisers. These several organizations shall be granted all facilities for that purpose by the authorities within the bounds set by military or security considerations, apart from the visits of the delegates of the protecting powers and of the International Committee of the Red Cross provided for by Article 143. The detaining or occupying powers shall facilitate as much as possible visits to protected persons by the representatives of other organizations whose object is to give spiritual aid or material relief to such persons. The truckers and other members of the public are protected persons under Article 30 and have the absolute right to protest and receive material relief from any organization that might assist them. Moreover, the Canadian Police Force has an affirmative duty such that the detaining or occupying power, the Canadian Police Force, shall facilitate as much as possible visiting to protected persons by the representatives of other organizations whose object is to give spiritual aid or material relief to such persons. Said it again. Therefore, the Canadian police officers are committing war crimes against protected persons under the Geneva Convention for Article 30. By seizing fuel from protected persons, the Canadian police are advised to immediately cease and desist such war crimes. Let me say that again. Canadian police, pay attention. You must immediately cease and desist such war crimes. The protected persons are advised to remain peaceful. Record the names and images of anyone potentially committing war crimes and request assistance from protecting powers, namely the Global Military Alliance. This was sent to me from a lawyer in the USA, Ben Ann Wright, brought to my attention. Thank you, Miss Wright. Now let's look at details of the Geneva Convention commentary on Article 30. Application to Protecting Powers and Relief Organizations, Article 30 in the Geneva Convention communication. The diplomatic conference adopted Article 30 without making any change of importance to the text based on the government expert's recommendation. The article is placed in this section as all protected persons, both in the territory and the belligerent power and in occupied territory, are entitled to communicate with the protecting powers and with relief organizations. Okay, now let's look at the Geneva Conventions of August 12, 1949 commentary. Right of communication, page 214, paragraph 1, the principle. As the reporter of the Committee 3 of the Diplomatic Conference very rightly pointed out, it is not enough to grant rights to protected persons and to lay responsibility on the states. Protected persons must be furnished with the support they require to obtain their rights. They would otherwise be helpless from a legal point of view in relation to the power of whose hands they are. Article 30 therefore changes such powers to afford protected persons every facility for making application to the protecting power, the International Committee of the Red Cross. The right in question is an absolute right, possessed by all protected persons, both in the territory of a party to the conflict and in occupied territory, whether they are not detained or are internees, the person placed in assigned residence or detained. The communication may have a wide variety of causes, and it may take the form of application, suggestion, a complaint, a protest, a request for assistance, etc. It is not even necessary for an infringement of the convention on the part of the authorities to have occurred. The right of communication may be exercised under all circumstances. It must be pointed out, however, that this right may be suspended if the seriousness of the circumstance so demands. The provision under consideration will not be really effective unless the right of communication can be exercised without hindrance. The diplomatic conference therefore wished to give it essentially practical form, hence the absence of procedural clauses. That's the principle, guys. Communication. The conference considered that the right of communication is justified by the mere fact of a protected person needing assistance. The fact that a new convention grants civilian war victims a formal and absolute right of appeal to supervising and relief agencies, a facility which up till then had depended solely on the goodwill of the parties to the conflict, this of great significance. The certainty of being able to avoid isolation, of being able to establish contact with impartial charitable agencies, and together with the hope of sympathy and relief in cases of distress, is psychologically most valuable to protected persons for the moral support it gives them. On the other hand, the obligation laid on the belligerents represents a warning and will encourage scrupulous observation of the provisions of the Convention. Police of Canada, RCMP, Ottawa Police, Calgary Police Services, police in all provinces, you must cease and assist. You are committing war crimes against your own people. Stop it. Now. This is Marcel Irnie reporting February 7th, 2022.